Carlos Nelson with Cascade Sports, and tonight we have a coach that's been on the show before on our HBCU series, Mr. Shawn Walker. He's the head basketball coach at Elizabeth City University. How are you doing this evening, Shawn?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I appreciate you to chat with you a little bit.
How about giving our audience a little update since the last time you were on? When you were on, I think it was about about 19 months ago. COVID had just broke out, and we talked a little bit about who you were and your background. But talk about your season, this season, and a little bit about what's going on down there at Elizabeth City.
I got you. So yeah, a couple of years ago, I think it's been about 2 years ago, we were in the guts, in the belly of the beast, so to speak, of COVID. And I think I was in kind of talks with various coaches and persons in athletics that were dealing kind of with the same things that we're talking about now in terms of COVID. And so since then, obviously, we missed the season and was able to come back. This was our first season back since COVID, as the CIAA didn't play in 2021. And, as everybody else did, had an opportunity to fight through this pandemic and try to finish the season. So here at Elizabeth City, we pretty much did what about everybody else did in the country. Try to stay COVID free, try to give our young people opportunities to participate and try to get back to normal as best we could. Recruiting and fostering to the young people that we have in the midst of a global health crisis. So, very, very happy to say that we have finished another season and done so as successfully as we could, and looking forward to getting back to this new normal. And seeing, where our program can take off from there.
Talk about this season. Did you have any standouts? What stand as it relates to the student athletes?
Yeah, we were in a year. This year was a very unique year for us, and we had not COVID related, but a great deal of things that happened with our team this year. That was really unique. I had an African young man, kid, or foreign student that left the country in December to go home for Christmas and was unable to get back in the country with the F-1 visa expiration. And he's still out of the country now, can't get back. My best player had a torn plantar fasciitis January 6th. I lost my best player and point guard, Justin Faison, transferred after he graduated due to COVID. He graduated and moved on to a Division I program at UMass Lowell. And so this was a grinded out year for us. We finished the year 14-13. We did have a pleasant surprise with the CIAA Freshman of the Year and Jaden Bellotti, who's going to be a really good player for us. And so this was a year that we didn't have an all-conference player. We didn't have a player who was, considered to be one of the top players in the league. Although I thought Jaden Bellotti was right there getting ready to walk through the door. But a lot of promise moving forward, and looking forward to what the future has to hold.
What's happening now as it relates to most of the coaches are on the road, are trying to start their recruiting and so forth. Where are you at with that right now?
We're doing what everybody else is doing. When you finish your season and you either play your last game of the season, the very next day begins the new season. So we're searching the country high and wide, trying to not only locate but attract quality players in this league, quality players for ECSU that can play in this league, and they can help us reach our ultimate goal of winning the CIAA championship. Excuse me. It's a unique task because we know that the transfer portal has taken over college basketball. The transfer player has taken over college basketball, and so recruiting is changing right before our eyes. A lot more recruiting is taking place from right here in my office than it is going out on that road now, because we can see everything on the computer. But we're definitely engaged, heavily engaged in recruiting and attracting players, young people that will be a great fit here at Elizabeth City State, and trying to get the right people on the bus.
What type of players are you looking for as a whole? Because as you say, right here in your office, and as us being a primarily high school website with all types of talent looking at our site, let them know, what are you looking for?
Yeah, well, for the most part, I always tell our recruits I'm looking for character, integrity, a commitment to citizenship, and then you have to be able to play basketball too. TOO means also. The basketball part is the latter part of the expectation. So we look for guys, for people that want to come to college and they want to end up being in a situation where they're coming in one way and they're better than they were when they came once they leave. That's the ultimate goal. I feel like our program is a program that we want to be like a hospital. You want to check in here one way and check out better than you were. So we're looking for young people that want to go to college, want to get a degree, want to be on this journey of sustaining their earning power with their academics, educational process, and then they enjoy playing basketball as well. They enjoy competing. They're actively searching for an opportunity to be a superlative player that can come in and join other players that are great players and be able to go on this hunt for winning the championship, which is our ultimate goal.
Can you talk about some of the challenges that you have had in your career as being a coach in HBCU land?
Well, there are many challenges, but there are also where there's challenges, there are many opportunities. So I like to say that the more difficult the atmosphere is, the more opportunity that's in that atmosphere to be great. So I don't even know, how to specifically answer that question in regards to there being just a couple of different things. But, I think that there are difficulties on every job. I think whether they're in HBCU, I think whether they're in the predominantly white college and university, I think that there are different challenges that we have to face, and we have to be able to navigate through the things that are not the way we want them to be and figure out how to get the job done. I've been very fortunate in my career. I'm going to say fortunate that I haven't had the perfect job. Every job that I've had opportunity to have had some challenges that we had to be overcome in order to be successful and have the success in that place that could be had. We've had a great opportunity to work for and work with people who understood those challenges and gave you time to work through them, which I would say sometimes is our biggest challenge as coaches altogether. If you give me pennies, then we need to make sure that the outcome that you are expecting is a plentiful amount of pennies. All right. And so you're not giving me pennies and expecting me to put millions of dollars in the bank. But that's not the reality of college sports. That's not the reality of HBCU. We have to really get good at taking nothing or taking a little bit and making a lot of. And that's what our history has been as a people, that you need to be able to take these beans, and you need to be able to take these francs, and you need to be able to feed these 30 people, and everybody needs to be full at the end. And so I think there's opportunity in that. I think that's you can complain about eating beans every day, but at the end of the day, you want your belly to be full when you go to sleep. And that's kind of what I would say. That's the way I would answer that question with regards to challenges.
What I was going to add to that, and but you said a mouthful of beans, for sure. How important is it to have your administration behind you, because a lot of times they have different priorities than athletics. It just depends, academics and so forth. And when it comes to that budget for athletics, as you say, you're not eating steak, but you're full. And so I think you did answer that you have a decent working relationship with the administration.
Well, it's very important. You don't stay sustainably employed without having a great understanding of, what is needed, what is wanted, and what you can provide. And then you have to be able to work in the confinements of those things. So, one of the most difficult things for anyone to do is to have your superiors not understanding what your plight is. And so communication is one of the most important aspects to your journey in college athletics, particularly because it's the only coaching is the only job in the world that every night that you step out there, everybody's evaluating you. You normally get an evaluation at the end of the year, but you get one in coaching every single night, and no one really cares whether you had a 6'10" guy that lost his F1 visa and couldn't get back in the country in the middle of your season. No one really cares whether or not your best player averaging 18 points a game almost finished his career in January and you got 15 more games left and you can't make those points up. So, it's always positive to have an administration that does understand. And then, we have to be able to tell our own stories and make sure that people do, have an idea about what those challenges are. Simultaneously, you have to still figure out how to be successful. So that's just the nature. That's what we signed up to do, and so that's what makes the job exciting.
I go back to, because of my age, the saying that Vince Lombardi used to say, "Don't America loves the winner," right. And you have with that saying, you have to deal with your budget, your talent, and everything else. They don't care whether, the water boy didn't come. Why didn't you win?
That's right. That's right. Well,
so with that being said, I want you to talk about your conference a little bit. How do you see your conference weighing up against the other conferences?
Well, I'll tell you what, for basketball, I think that we play in the top HBCU basketball conference in the country. I've had an opportunity to work in almost all of them or be around them all. So, the CIAA conference, obviously we have the third largest basketball tournament in the country. There's only two tournaments at any level larger than the CIAA tournament. Historically, this league has been a league that has provided the opportunity for many familiar pros to play. When we mention names like Ben Wallace and Charles Oakley and Terry Davis and Rick Mahorn and Pearl Monroe and not Tiny Archibald, but I think the Globetrotters guy named that played at Johnson C. Smith, Curly Neal, Cleo Hills. This league is a league with extreme history and extremely high talented players. And now it's a league that we're finding that Division I players, high majors, are transferring down to that want a chance to go pro. Winston-Salem State just attracted a first-year transfer from North Carolina State in the ACC, and he's going to Winston-Salem. We're involved with the young man that went to the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill out of high school. So this is a phenomenal league, great competitive league, great atmosphere, and a league not only of a lot of culture, but just a lot of fun. Very, very, very good basketball, very good atmospheres, and an awesome tournament that finalizes the year.
How do you feel the dynamics, and we talked off camera a little bit, how the dynamics of recruiting from a social media and digital standpoint has affected how HBCUs go about recruiting and over the last year and a half, this is a double part question, with Primetime Sanders bringing a real spotlight, illuminating HBCUs, giving it a further, push towards getting the recognition that is way overdue.
Yeah. So, the first part of your question in terms of social media and recruiting, I mean, at this point, social media has saved a lot of people a lot of money. All right. I just today saw a highlight of a young man on social media and sent him an inbox, and we are having dialogue as we speak about his situation, and before we even get to the telephone call. So now social media gives us access to much broader access to more quality players, and also gives kids access to coaches. All right, so any kid that finds me on social media can reach out to me. It gives us an opportunity, gives him an opportunity to at least put his idea and put his information on the plate, so that he can be seen. And I'm from a small town. I'm from a little small town called Roper, North Carolina. Washington County, northeastern North Carolina. We kind of sit tucked in the midst of the Crystal Coast, where there may not be a bunch of recruiters that are going to take off and come down in that place to see those kids. But they have a platform on Twitter. They have a platform on Instagram. They have a platform on Facebook. They got TikTok. You can find these kids now. They can find you and give themselves an opportunity to make contact and be seen. So I think that's a positive. It's a positive thing. Now, as a coach, I also have to be very careful of, I've recruited a couple guys on highlight tapes. All right, these highlight tapes are just that, and so you can make a big mistake on a highlight tape, recruiting a kid from all the way across the country somewhere that gets to you that can't play, or it's not as good as you thought you were getting, because you didn't go see him, because you didn't. You can go mess around and find you a 6'3" post guy that on tape said he was 6'7", and now you've gotten him on your campus. You have a big problem, because there again, that stems back to the next question. The first question is, you recruited him, right? So you recruited him, you're responsible for winning with him, and now he's 6'3" opposed to 6'7", and nobody wants to hear, but we didn't have the money to go see him, and so we took him on his highlight tape because it was cheap. They won't cheat, but they also want productivity. So I certainly do think that the social media era, it has been a good thing for multiple ways, for multiple kids, and for multiple coaches. I think it certainly is a new day in that regard.
All right, I want to wrap this up. What would you have to say to our sports community in closing?
I would say, in terms of sports community, sports is it's one of the greatest things that I think that can happen to young people. And I think it's one of the greatest things. I mean, I always feel like I've never really worked a day in my life. I love what I do, irrespective of the challenges that I face or have been faced with. It's one of the greatest entities in life. It's one of the pleasures of life. It's one of the finer things in life. That's in all actuality a simple thing, and so I would encourage everybody for multiple reasons to get involved. Even if it's nothing but to stay active, and to have a longer and more positive quality of life in terms of getting movement, being active. I don't think this could be a better profession. And arguably, I've been in coaching for 27 years, but hey, I'm sitting in my office now. I'm talking to you about sports. I'm talking to you about recruiting kids, motivating kids. I don't have a suit on today. I'm dressed in my sweatpants. It's Friday. It's sunny outside. I like to get outside a little bit, so I get outside a little bit. But I don't know what we could be doing greater today than having a conversation about trying to enable young people to be great in life. And that's ultimately what our plight is. And that's pretty much what I would say to the world about sport.
I love it, Coach, because I've been around a long time, and I would like to say something different, but coaching is a thankless job to a degree.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, the joy of you dealing with young people, giving them proper perspectives and learning, and it's you can't buy that experience.
That's right.
So in closing, as we like to say here at Cascade Sports, we go hard in the paint, and that's no joke.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.